Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone who's watching on Facebook, please like and share the video. Everyone who's everyone who's watching on YouTube, please share the video, like the video, share the video. If you're not, subscribe to the channels and hit the notification bells. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره وقدره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل صلاة وتسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن هذا السادة التابعين وعلماء عاملين وأئمة أربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's class is going to be short. As a matter of fact, all of the classes during the month of Ramadan is going to be short because Maghrib comes in around 7:20 or so, and we'll be getting ready to break fast at that time. Get out of the street. Y'all come up here. So, inshallah ta'ala, every week we'll be at the class start at 6 o'clock. And inshallah ta'ala, I'm looking to be finished with the text around Shawwal or probably into Dhul Qa'dah. All right. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The section today is on wudu, ablution. Ablution, wudu, is cleansing, purifying ourselves from ritual impurity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, O ye who believe, when you stand for the prayer, wash your faces and your hands up to the elbows. Wash your faces and your hands up to the elbows. Wipe your heads and wash your feet up to the ankles. The expression of wudu, the letter wow, all right, with the fatah, is the actual water with which ablution is performed. The expression ablution with the letter with the wow with the letter wow vowelized with dhamma is the actual action of ablution itself. Thus, the ablution of prayer is well known. It is to wash. It is the washing of some of the limbs with the wiping, some in order to remove minor ritual impurities. Right. The limbs upon which wudu are performed are 8. Right, and the sheikh he mentions the 2 hands, the mouth, the nose, the face, the 2 hands up to the elbows, the 2 feet, the head, and the 2 ears. Right, the meaning of ablution with the people of Allah is purification of the 8 attributes of end time creation. Right, which are existence, life, knowledge, will, power, sight, hearing, and speech by means of unadulterated water, which is the light of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, until his gnosis of the existence, until he has gnostics of the existence of Allah Ta'ala. his life, knowledge, will, omnipotence, sight, hearing, and speech by the means of this spiritual ablution, right? The servant is able to draw near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which his obligations and his supererogatory acts outwardly and inwardly, until Allah Ta'ala loves him and connects him with the station of love, which is the highest of the Muhammadan station. The station of love is the highest station with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. That's why the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the Habibullah, because the highest station that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has is the station of love with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So much so that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala does not compete with the love of his servant, right? That's why the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, everyone that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that was dear to him, that he loved dearly, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala took them, like his uncle Abi Talib, like his wife Khadija radiallahu anha, like all of his sons, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah Taala took them, like Zayd bin Thabit. Um, and even after his death, Fatima radiallahu anha, alayhi salam, 6 months after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam returned to Allah, she returned to Allah. So there was no one other than the companions that he loved, and his grandchildren, Hassan and Hussein, that he loved dearly. One time that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting in the masjid, and Hassan came in, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam kissed him on his lips. And then after him, Hussein came in, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam kissed him on his neck. Then he received the revelation from Jibril about their death. So Jibril appeared, alayhi salatu wasalam, angel Jibril appeared, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he informed the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, the one who you kissed on his lips, he will be poisoned. And how did Hassan radiallahu anhu return to Allah? He was poisoned by his wife, right? He was poisoned by his wife, who had received some promise of dunya from Muawiyah. And then the angel Jibril, he said, the one who you kissed on his neck, it will be severed. So how did Hussein radiallahu anhu return to Allah? He returned to Allah. His head was chopped off. So this was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew about their death when they was just young children, long before their life had even actually got really started. So the ayah is in Surah Al-Ma'idah, where Allah Ta'ala says, "O ye who believe, when you stand for prayer, when you stand for prayer, wash your face and your hands up to the elbows, wipe your heads, and wash your feet up to the ankles." The scholar, the erudite authority, the authority of the Balad al-Sudan, of the black lands of the blacks, Abdullahi ibn Fudio rahmatullah alayhi, taqaddam bi rahmati ameen, may Allah Ta'ala envelop him in his mercy, said in his Diyatul Ta'wil, meaning when you desire to stand for it. This is an expression taken from the principle of the establishment of the effect establishes the cause, or and you are in a state of impurity. Those being addressed here are those impure based upon the inference of the state of minor ritual impurity. Right? Nico, take her in the house. Take her to the bathroom so she can wash her hands. Right? So this ayat continues. To continue, it is related in the Sahih of al-Bukhari that Amr ibn Abi Hassan asked Abdullah ibn Zayd radiallahu anhu about the wudu of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? Abdullah called for a container of water. Right? And then he performed the wudu for them. Right? Of the ablution of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? The wudu of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He poured water from the container onto his hands and washed them 3 times. Right? So Alright, so he put his hands in a container, then washed out his mouth and rinsed his nose by sniffing water into it and then blowing it out with 3 handfuls of water. Again, he put his hand in the container, and washed his face 3 times. He then washed his arms twice up to the elbows. He then put his hand in a container of water and then wiped his head by bringing his hands from the front to the back and then from the back to the front of the head 1 time. All right. Then he washed his feet. Washed his feet with his hands up to the ankles. Up to the ankles. Now, according to this hadith, right? When the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Abdullah gave the description of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wudu, he washed his hands first 3 times, like I had mentioned in Umdat'l Muta'Abideen. This is not the beginning of this. This doesn't start the wudu. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All right, this doesn't start the wudu. This purifies the hands because the container is to be set on the right side. So he washed his hands 3 times. This is not including the wudu. This is not included in the wudu. All right. So reference here is that this means he performed wudu on their behalf, showing them how to make wudu. So after washing the hands, after the washing the hands and clean the hands, then you dip your hands into the container and wash the mouth out. Wash the mouth out three times, right? And rinse the nose, right? Rinse the mouth out 3 times. Rinse the nose 3 times. Sniffing the water in the nostril and blowing it out, right? And then with the with 3 handfuls of water. Again, he will put his hands in the water container again, cuffing with the water in his hands, and he washes his face 3 times. This is the order, the correct order, and this is the tortilla. Also, in our school, in the Maliki school, you rub, right? You rub each limb. So you rub the face, everything from where the hairline starts to the ears to the chin. To the chin, you wash. And if you have a big beard, you just make mussar over it. If you have a beard like mine, like I had mentioned in Umdat'l Bayan, explaining Umdat'l Bayan, you have to make sure that you wash and the water touches your skin because I have a small beard, right? Now, um, washing the washing the arms. Used to washing the arms 3 times or washing the arms twice. He didn't wash his arms twice. The reason why he washed the arms twice because in the Maliki school, if you can get everything with one wash, every lamb with one wash, it's sufficient. But washing the second time to make certainty that you have it, that you got every every part of the arm, from the tip of the fingers to the elbow, and including the elbow, right? He washed it 2 times, but you know what I'm saying. We all do everything in threes. The it's like I said. You mean if you can get everything in one wipe, then it's sufficient. But to keep with the sunnah, you wash 2 or 3 times. Now, what I also mentioned in Umdat'l Bayan, I mentioned uh, what was the fara'id of the wudu and what is the sunnahs of the wudu and what breaks the wudu. This hadith is explaining how the Prophet ﷺ made the wudu. Okay, the wiping of the head, right? Takes the handful of water, wipes the head from the front to the back and back to the front again 1 time. The back is the fard. Bringing it back to the front is the sunnah. Like I mentioned when I was explaining, when I was teaching Umdat'l Bayan in the Umdat'l Bayan class, is that the wiping the head from the front to the back being the fard, being the fard of the wudu of wiping the head. If a person, like at that time I had a bald head, so if I wiped my head 1 time, it would have been sufficient. Instead of bringing it from front to back. Back to the front would be keeping in line with the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which, you know what I'm saying, I would still do, even though my head was bald, right? And then taking fresh water and wiping the ears from the inside to the out of the lobes, right? But this hadith, it didn't mention that here, right? Um, it didn't mention that here. And then washing the feet, uh, washing the feet in between each toes, up to the ankles, right? Up to the ankles. Starting with the right foot first, and then the left. That the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his generalization in the use of the expression wudu ablution was as a form of establishment to indicate resemblance. In this in a statement, the legal ruling of washing the hands before entering them into the container, even when he was not previously asleep. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he used to keep a container of water next to him for that purpose. What is intended by the two hands here is the actual hand itself, and no more. In the language of the people of Allah Ta'ala, the hand is the locus of strength and expenditure, thus purifying them at the onset means purifying oneself of one's might when washing the left hand, and one's power when washing the right hand, with the knowledge that there is no power or might except the Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. He then washes them a second time by being one open-handed and expending generosity, purifying them from stinginess and miserliness, because the hands are the locus of grasping the avarice. Then he washes them the third time, because they are the means and the causative factor for purifying the soul, the heart, and the secrets, the seal. The prophetic tradition narrated by Kashmihani, it says that rinsing the mouth and sniffing the water up the nose, however, blowing the water out the nose necessitates sniffing it up, but not the opposite. The prophetic tradition narrated by Muslim, in the narration of Khalid, it said, then he entered his hands into the water container and withdrew them, and then rinsed his mouth. Right? This expression gives clear evidence that rinsing the mouth precedes sniffing water into the nose, because the two expressions are conjuncted with the conjunctive particle fa, which means subsequence. The evidence on him joining the rinsing of the mouth and sniffing water up the nose three times, uh, each time from a single handful of water, is conceivably connected to the expression three times. It is also conceivable that he joined them three times with one single water. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Three times with one single handful of water. The first opinion is in accordance with the remainder narration of this prophetic tradition. It is the opinion which is foremost. The meaning of rinsing the mouth, mada, in the language of the people of Allah, is to purify the tongue and the mouth from mentioning foul things such as backbiting, slander, and shouting malevolently. Now, what each limb that we wash in wudu, right? Each limb that we wash in wudu, when we wash the limbs, the sins that we commit fall off of the body from the limbs of that are being washed in wudu. One of the karamat, one of the miracles that Abu Hanifa, Allah Ta'ala blessed Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi with, was that Allah Ta'ala gave him the ability to be able to see the sins of the people the sins that's falling off of the person's body from the water of the wudu, from the dripping of the water of wudu, until he asked Allah Ta'ala to remove that ability from him, because he did not want to see the shortcomings of the Muslim. All right. The only expression in the latter case is for the one who is the victim of injustice. Each of these three impurities associated with the mouth are purified by means of excellence, mentioning such as the recitation of the Quran, the remembrance of Allah, reconciling between people, commanding the good, forbidding the evil, and what resembles that. As for the meaning of sniffing water up the nose and blowing it out, is the language of the people of Allah. For the nose is the locus of haughtiness, pride, and arrogance. I mean, halted people turn their nose up. I mean, people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's an expression of haughtiness, right? For this reason, um, the root of haughtiness is the nose. Like when you say so and so turns his nose up to so and so, which means he acted arrogantly towards him, right? Uh, Thus, it is obligatory to purify that from its haughtiness, pride, and arrogance by sniffing water up the nose, which in this case means the knowledge of one's servitude to Allah Ta'ala. For when this is done in the locus of haughtiness, pride, and arrogance, then these three traits are cast out from them, meaning that the act of wudu, I mean that these are the sins that's fallen off of them, right? Um, it is for this reason that that blowing water out the nose is ordered. This is an indication for the purification of the heart from ujub, from pride, conceit, arrogance, boasting, leadership, and and what resembles that. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. So inshallah Ta'ala, I'm gonna stop here, and next week I'm gonna continue with the with Tayammum, right? Purification of the earth. Subhanaka Allahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun ala mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin wa salatu wassalam ala rasulil kareem. I mean, remember to share the video on Facebook, share the video on YouTube. Hit the like button. Uh, Hit the like button, hit the heart button, hit the care button, and subscribe to the channels. Inshallah, next week at 6 o'clock. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everyone, enjoy your fast, and remember all of the Muslims in your dua, especially me. Remember me in your duas. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.